Hi, Cameron. Eric Nicholson. I'm a founder and chief executive of Astute Realty LLC. I am an investor in real estate. I'm a speaker, capital raiser, and I also do the wholesaling. And I have Cameron Jones here. He is a bookkeeper, and I want him to talk to us a little bit about how he can help investors such as myself and give some tips and also make some distinctions between bookkeeping and accounting. Cameron, it's nice to see you today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to see you. Great to be here. Thank you so much for this platform.
Thank you for joining us. And I just introduced you and I wanted you to give us a little background on yourself and what you do and how you can help fellow investors in this journey we are all participating in.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, thanks again, Eric. So my name's Cameron Jones. I'm actually the founder and CEO of Check Bookkeeping LLC. So we're a virtual QuickBooks Online bookkeeping firm. I'm the owner operator of the firm. So I've been helping small businesses and I've been niching towards real estate investors and construction companies to really just make sure that they're handling their finances in the most efficient and optimized way, because it's extremely important to ensure that they know exactly where all their money is going in and out in their business. There's a lot of different operations that go into bookkeeping. So one of the things that I do in my firm is monthly bookkeeping. I do cleanup bookkeeping. So in the event that in the past months that you haven't been on top of things, sometimes, time gets in the way. So I am one of the people that will be able to come into the books, be able to take them over, review what you have currently in the books to ensure that they're ready for tax time at the end of December 31st, 2020, for whatever year you're doing. So I also do document management in the event that there's a lot of different documents, receipts that you need to get captured and you want to keep it in one concise place. I do accounts receivable as well, invoicing. So in the event there's you're doing a lot of rental tenants, you need to make sure that you have streamlined invoicing as you're paying, as these tenants are paying you, and you make sure you keep everything concise on the books. I also do accounts payable, so I can support you with the workflows and ensuring that you're receiving all of your W-9s from your vendors. You'll be able to process your 1099s and be able to do all that throughout the year. And also provide some consultations as well. So in the event that you're just not understanding your financial statements or your QuickBooks, I'm able to support you in that front.
Now, I know that a lot of what you have just stated sounds to me as a layman accounting, right? So I wanted to ask you, what is the difference between bookkeeping and accounting?
Yeah, so there's a lot of misconceptions. A lot of people seem to think that they're one and the same. So bookkeeping is a subset of accounting. So accounting is the broad overview of the financial aspects of business, and it includes bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is the foundation of accounting. So bookkeeping is basically keeping track of day-to-day operations, ensuring that all of your transactions are properly categorized. You have a concise system, checks and balances on your system. So as your transactions are coming into your bank feed or coming into your bank statement, be able to categorize them in specific ways that make sense to you. So that's where the chart of accounts come in. So chart of accounts is basically your rubric of your accounting system. So that's your interest expense, that's your rental income, that's your job materials, and then that's where the job costing also comes in. So what we do as bookkeepers, we categorize all of your transactions, and we do that throughout the year. So accountants, as you'll see a tax preparer maybe once a year. You may see a tax planner maybe quarterly. Bookkeeper, we're on the forefront and we're supporting you throughout the entire process to ensure everything is concise. So we record and categorize all of your transactions. We reconcile all of your bank accounts at the end of the month to ensure everything is good penny for penny. And then we generate those important financial statements. That's a profit and loss, balance sheet, and statement of cash flows, statement of equity if that's needed. And then on the accounting front, you need to have all of your bookkeeping done in order to be able to analyze those financial statements. So that's where the accounting aspect comes in. So bookkeeping is always going to be the front and foremost important aspect of each business.
Right. So if I can reiterate and correct me if I misunderstood anything, you see the accountant once a year who basically submits your tax returns and summarizes everything and puts everything in one place. But accountant has to go over the data, and if you are easy investor throughout the year, you probably have multitude of transactions, maybe hundreds or thousands of transactions. And instead of accounting now being thrown all that information and trying to go through the maze and try to figure out what was actually going on and making mistakes, which can be very costly and risky for a businessman when you submit your tax returns. Now the accountant will come and open the books and see everything in fine order. Everything is categorized. Everything is it's in a clear sight. And as an accountant, you will just go over the numbers, do the math and submit your forms as required by the federal and state government once a year. So that distinction very clear. Tell me a little bit about advantages of bookkeeping I think it's obvious that if you have a larger operation, you have lots of transactions and employees, there is just no way around that, right? But let's say if it's a small mom and pop shop, if it's a smaller organization, 1, 2 people involved, members, LLCs, or a lot of the time will have 1 or 2 members. Bookkeeping can come handy in a situation like that.
Yeah, so bookkeeping allows you to see the overview of your business, how it's running, how it's being profitable. You're able to see any action areas where you can try to pinpoint. So say that you've been investing into an advertiser, you've been using a marketing manager, and you have a marketing expense on your profit and loss. So you've been expensing that every month. You look to see if you've been profitable. So you want to see an ROI. So if you notice that you've just not been receiving any profit and you're still been paying this marketing manager, you may want to try to readjust these certain expenses. So there's no way to do that unless you're actually able to see a concise statement each month, and see what you're generating, what you're expensing, and seeing what that difference is, and to see if it's moving the needle or not. If it's not moving the needle, then things need to be taken care of. But if you just go through the business without keeping track of everything, you're not going to be able to see that. So yeah, it's an extremely important piece to make sure that you have concise control. So you as the business owner are going to be in control of everything. You are the person that you're going to be answered to. So you need to make sure that you understand everything ins and outs of your entire business, which is why it's important to have trained professionals to the process. Well, you can't know everything, So
Yes,
that's why it's extremely important.
totally agree. And my next question would be if you want to give us a range, because I would assume the more complex work is, the more transactions take place, the larger the organization is, the more input from you it will require to prepare the books versus a small 1 or 2 team operation where there could be much fewer transactions. So do you have a range of the fees that you typically charge for those 2 different types of the works that you are offering?
Yes. So pricing can range very drastically, as you mentioned. It all depends on the complexity of the business, how many transactions, how many bank accounts need to be reconciled, the actual needs of the client. Every client has different types of pain points that they want to make sure they get accomplished. So there's some people that want to make sure that all of their invoices are intact. So they're going to need me to do their accounts receivable plus their bookkeeping. There may be one person that has, 10 properties. They want to make sure that they're able to see their balance sheet and profit and loss on a monthly basis and be able to get that ready for them when they want to see investors to try to get funding. So those type of people will have a little bit more complexity and more work that needs to get done. So ranges in pricing can be from the very, very basic, where you just have like one account, maybe one credit card, can be as low as $200 a month. And it can scale as high as up to $2,000 a month, depending on the needs of the client. So it really all depends on what the client needs, what their actual pain points are, and what they have time to do. Because when they hire a bookkeeper, it means that I don't have time anymore. And I need to be able to make sure I'm focusing on generating revenue. So that's why it's always important to have a trained professional take care of the books.
I think another point I would like to mention and would like you to elaborate on is that I think we may have discussed this with you. If you are an investor and you would like to purchase the property, one of the things that lenders will look at are your financial statement. And I guess in a real estate, because you are investing in a property, you can, to a degree, get away from very strict requirements of, let's say, when you are qualifying for a residential mortgage, FHA loan, or any private, mortgage loan. There is more leeway. However, I think the more financially stable you are and the more evidence you have to prove that, less risk you will present to a lender who will then can cut the cost of the loan in terms of reducing your interest rate, reducing the points that they charge, closing costs, and all that. So I want you to give a little bit of input on that, like from your experience, like how much you can help, because somebody might be paying you $200 a month and asking, like, why should I do that when I'm like a one-man show? I can do it myself. But at the end of the day, if they purchase the property, they're probably not going to put up all their cash, especially if they want to scale the operation and purchase multiple properties. They'll probably use lenders' money, maybe hard money or their, local credit union or bank. And then I guess question will be how much that loan costs to you and how much you can save those costs when you present a very clean, neat financial statements versus someone who says, well, I don't know. I think I did like a couple of deals a month. I think I made X amount of dollars throughout the year, but I'm not really sure. You are lending me based on the property. So, I will take whatever. So I think you can kind of like zoom in there and give a little bit of your reflection on how it helps people to secure more favorable terms on financing their deal.
Yeah, so you need to be able to present yourself in a professional and legitimate manner. If you go into a meeting with a bank creditor, whoever that's trying to get money from, and you're not able to tell them what your net income was last year, it's going to be a problem. So everything is all about risk. It's risk assessment and ensuring that they're able to recover their principal. So when you're working with investors, well, let's start with banks first. So banks, we all know that you're never going to get 100% LTV. Never going to get that. So at most, you're going to be trying to fight for at least 80%. At a minimum, when you go to a bank and sit with a banker to try to get a loan, they want to see your profit and loss of last year. They want to see your balance sheet, current balance sheet, and they want to see last year's tax return. So if you're not able to provide any of those documents, it's not even going to happen. But you want to work with private money lenders, people that they have their own business, they're lending money on the side. They will likely give you a little bit more loan to value. Yeah, but there's also going to be a higher risk assessment they need to take. So they're going to ask even more documentation.
Yeah.
So if you're not on top of your books, on top of the numbers, and able to have somebody that knows it, you're not going to be able to get the lending, and you can't scale without being able to get lending.
Sounds great. And I want to also ask you, obviously, we will put a link to your website and put your contact information under this video, but I wanted to ask, make it easy for potential customers and your future clients to access your services. Do you have a dashboard, a link where they can go and submit their inquiry so that you can get in touch with them? Is there another method that you are utilizing? Do they have to simply call you, email you? Tell us about how viewers can contact you if they would like to have a consultation, if you offer the free consultation, or if they are potential clients, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you and get the services that we just discussed?
Yeah, so the most best way would be to reaching out to me by going back to my website. So I'm at checkbookkeeping.com. I have a Facebook, I have a LinkedIn, I have Instagram. So you can search me. I'm Cameron Jones. You'll be able to find me in that way. Really, the best way would be to go to the website. I do offer free consultations. So it's a 30-minute consultation where we go over the complexity of your business. And we talk about how many accounts that you have, what are the needs that you have for bookkeeping, what needs that you have for administrative services. After we have a consultation and a call, I'm going to need to look at your most recent bank statements to evaluate the number of transactions. If you're already on QuickBooks Online, then I would be asked to be invited as an accountant viewer. Then I'll be able to review your books, and then I'll be able to provide you with a pricing quote within 24 hours. So the best way to reach me would be to either email me. I'm at Cameron@checkbookkeeping.com. Go to my website, checkbookkeeping.com. Also, my phone number is 646-825-3363.
Great. So checkbooking.com would be, I guess, the easiest path.
Mm-hmm.
They could just enter your website, browse through the products and services you offer, and then schedule a 30-minute consultation during which you can go over the details and see what the needs of the clients are. And then, I guess, the documentation for review, and they can take it from there. So that sounds very, 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 very solid and good to me. And I'm really glad that we had the chance to meet, because I know a lot of our fellow investors are overstressed. They have so many things that they have to worry about, and it's sometimes it can get chaotic. You could be like working on one thing, trying to finish it, and then all of a sudden you get a new client or new seller or new buyer calling you, inquiring about something. Sometimes you have to act on short notice very fast, so you have to literally drop everything and run and go and inspect the property. So all those things just add the stress, and stress not only diminishes your ability to handle multiple tasks, but it also diminishes the quality of work that you can do. So instead of focusing your brain on some task that you are now all over the place trying to handle multiple tasks. And I guess this is one of the ways that you can lift off the shoulders of the investors, and it can be very, very mutually beneficial way to cooperate with a bookkeeper who can come in and remove all those tasks off somebody's plate. So I'm really glad that we had this meeting, the conversation. I'm looking forward to more. I think we can meet from time to time and cover specific aspects and questions, and we will obviously, as we receive questions from our viewers, we will address them. We will try to address them, and I think there is no better way to do that than by having the sections, and we can have another meetup where we will go over some of the things that our viewers are concerned about. So I want to thank you again for coming today to our podcast, providing valuable information, and hopefully, we will be able to help our fellow investors in their journey by having them an access to this additional resource that you are providing. And do you have any final thoughts or anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, just to ensure that investors really take this seriously, bookkeeping is an extremely serious and very important aspect of your business, and you need to make sure that you're doing it correctly. QuickBooks Online is one of the best resources for construction and for real estate investors to do their bookkeeping. It's complex. It's not always the easiest way to understand it. So I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro advisor, so I understand the ins and out of your industry and what to look for to ensure that your bookkeeping is concise. So I can help you save time. I can help you be able to just worry about what you need to do in the business and make sure that your books are intact. And make sure if you're an S Corp that you get your taxes done next month. So if you have your S Corp, it's next month, taxes are due in March. If you're a regular sole proprietorship, then we got to make sure the taxes are done in April.
Yes, good point. Well, let me thank you again for participation and valuable input, and I look forward to seeing you again, Cameron. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.